Hey guys, King Jet here, and I thought I'd provide a wee brief update on what has happened with me, which has resulted in no bingo streams currently. I'm not going to fully explain the situation and the circumstances because it is currently still an ongoing process, but I believe you guys deserve to know more details because so far I've not really been able to tell you guys much. I've never been shy to tell you guys about challenging times I'm on in life. I guess because those are experiences from the past, which, while they're stressful negative, I was still able to overcome them. There was a Christmas years ago when I had to go with my own mother to a food bank because my unemployment benefits were frozen, as they thought I had not fulfilled my obligations to, receive the benefits, So that's one example of one of the most challenging times I've ever been through. Yeah, obviously the situation has gotten better since then. That was many years ago, but I've shared that story in the past, partially because of Phil, DSP, and his infinite wisdom, decided to rant and rave about food banks as a part of his short-lived DS politics crap, So what I'm going through right now is another challenging time in my life. It's not all negative, but it's certainly turned my life entirely on its head. And because, as of right now, it's still an ongoing process, I feel like providing details about a situation which has not yet reached its conclusion is premature. I can't tell you the whole story because the whole story is not played out yet. Here is what I will say. My living situation is what has caused this current bingo hiatus. I am no longer living with my partner and her mother. We're still together, we still love each other, but right now it is in both our best interests for me not to be living with her anymore, for now anyway. So right now, as I'm making this video, I'm back living with my mother and sister while I try and get my own place sorted, which it hopefully will by the start of November. This move was something that was it was actioned very quickly, so there was not a whole lot of time to prepare and plan anything. It was just some, things came to a head, and it's like, you know what, fucking get to, you've got to bolt, So there wasn't a whole lot of time to prepare things and try and get things sorted and whatever, you know what I mean, which basically meant that as things were moving in transit, there was a possibility, the risk that things could potentially get damaged. And that is exactly what has happened with one of my monitors I use, not only for bingo and just my own general enjoyment, but I use it for my work as well, I mean? I have a 9 to 5 job, and I use it to work as well when I'm working from home. And the monitor that was provided to me by my work, it got damaged in transit, and I showed I showed a video of that and a picture of that to members already on my as a members only video recently. So there we go. But yeah, so because I only have a monitor, I feel it's best to wait until I've moved into a new place as well, and got a new monitor sorted as well from my work to replace it before I start doing bingo once more. Now, I'm going to get quite personal now. Some of you guys might think TMI, but fuck it, whatever, I mean? I'm an honest kind of person, so fuck it. So here we go. I am someone who has... I'm almost 40 years old, I'm 38 years old, So I'm almost 40. I've been on this planet for almost 40 years. I have never, in my entire time of living, ever lived alone. For most of those years, I was at home with my parents. Basically from from when I was born until early 30s. And while I did have some relationships as well, it never really led to moving in with that person. Also, I had relationships in the past, but I was just thinking I would stay with them for a couple of days, whatever, I mean, and then the relationship would fall apart, and so basic cash shit, I mean. But this relationship I'm in now currently with my partner, with my fiance, that was like the most serious relationship I've ever had, to the point where I've been living with her the past 7 years, at least, whatever, so yeah. But yeah, basically what it means is I've never lived alone to fend for myself, or whatever, And obviously part of that reason why I've never lived by myself and just stayed at home with my parents for so long. Also, part of it was just because I didn't really have a stable job at the time to be able to afford to fucking move out in the first place. You know what I mean? I was somebody, for the longest time I was looking for, you know, secure permanent work. I could only get temporary contracts, whatever, here and there. So even though I got some jobs, never lasted too long. I'd get to work and then the contract would expire and I wouldn't be able to get kept on. Then I'd have to try and get another job elsewhere. You know, so in between looking for jobs and being on unemployment benefits, whatever, and getting short-time gigs, it was hard for me to afford to get my own place to call home. And another reason as well, of course, was that I wanted to also be there with my parents, and in particular my father, whose health was deteriorating over, you know, for the last few years of his life. You know, probably another factor was that I was comfortable because it was convenient, and I am a lazy bastard, but I'll talk about more of that. I'll talk about more about that in a minute or two. But yeah, after so basically, once I finally, you know, I fell in love with my partner, and you know, we moved in together, you know what I mean, which is fantastic stuff, you know. And not long after we'd moved in together, my partner's mother had to move in with us due to her own personal circumstances, and so for most of those years that I've been with my partner, it's been me, my fiance, and her mother, you know. But we still kind of made it work to the best of our abilities, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, say, until things came to a head recently where I was told to get to and leave. But yeah. So, while I'm definitely capable, you know, I feel personally I'm very capable of looking after myself. My own nature, I'm a lazy bastard. I am a fat, lazy, lethargic bastard, to put it simply, you know. I know how to do basic crap, you know what I mean? I know how to cook. I know how to fucking clean up after myself, like do the fucking dishes and fucking hoover and, you know, and clean the fucking... I know how to do these things, but I'm often too lazy to do these things in a timely manner. And this lethargic approach has caused a lot of tension while I was living with my partner and our mother. It's embarrassing as a grown-ass man to admit this, but there's some basic things I need to work on in order to not be a burden to others living with me. And now that I'm going to be living by myself, I need to prove that I'm capable of doing precisely that. It's in my own best interest to have some independence and work on fixing some flawed traits of my character, just to improve as a human being in general. And most people I know won't necessarily care about my own life situation, I get that, but I also feel like my experiences can perhaps help others out too in their own lives. So yeah, I'm extremely fortunate, I feel, in many ways. I am lucky that despite all my flaws forcing this move, that my partner still has love for me and wants me to improve to make a relationship work. It is the value of communication, not only talking, but listening and understanding. It is something that I feel is essential for relationships to thrive, and in my mind, I need to step up so I can be the man she deserves. I'm also extremely fortunate that I had somewhere to live in the meantime, as I understand a lot of people who perhaps suddenly find themselves homeless do not have a plan B and they're effectively on the streets. I know I am lucky, as I'm well aware that families can be complicated to say the least. It is embarrassing for a grown man to have to admit my faults like this, but I pride myself on being an honest person, and I have felt guilty for denying people bingo with no real explanation given. So while it's somewhat bad news, there is some hope. In terms of bingo anyway, you know, the best case scenario is that I get my own place sorted soon, and I can then get internet installed as soon as possible, and bingo immediately resumes once more, hopefully in early November, but that time frame might be very optimistic. I hope people can understand why I was hesitant in providing details initially. Not only is it a situation which at this moment has still not been fully resolved, but I was also very aware that it may come across like I'm a victim and need help and money. Basically I was scared of sounding and acting like DSP, or being seen like I was acting like DSP, you know? And I won't lie, you know, more money's always good, you know what I mean? I'd be a fucking hypocrite if I said that, you know, who wouldn't want more fucking money, you know what I mean? If it comes across like, oh, he's begging for money and help, you know, if people are going to offer you fucking money or whatever to help out, then most people will not usually say no to that because it doesn't like fucking have more money, even though it kind of feels disgusting doing a DSP and like, you know, suggesting that people can send you money, you know. But here's the thing though, nobody owes me a single fucking thing. Nobody owes me anything. I'm not expecting anything, and if people do want to be supportive financially, then that's entirely up to them. I mean, I would certainly appreciate it, particularly because I'm at this moment making nothing at all on YouTube for this month due to not being able to stream. But remember, I am still somebody who works full time, and YouTube is a hobby, a side hustle effectively. Now, I need to stop talking about money because honestly, it feels dirty, and it honestly makes me wonder how DSP can do this multiple times a day and feel zero shame from himself asking his audience to fucking do that for him. In conclusion, my life has been somewhat turned upside down due to my living situation and relationship. Plus my water is broken, which has meant no bingos. I'm working hard to get this resolved as best as I can. The monitor situation is something I can take care of, as I'll get my work to replace it, as it was their monitor that was damaged in the first place. But as for the living situation, I will do what I can to get it resolved as soon as possible. And in turn, on a personal level, hopefully I can resolve my relationship woes by becoming a better man for the woman I love. Making this video has been extremely difficult for me. So many people have contacted me since Bingo was put on hiatus to be supportive and kind, and I greatly appreciate that immensely. My pride wouldn't allow me at first to share too many details originally, but I feel I owed you guys an explanation. So now you all know what's happening. Life is what it is, and I know other people have their own situations and burdens and problems to deal with as well, so my predicament is nothing special by any means, but with hope comes belief that tomorrow's going to be a better day. So yeah, because I've got hope, I'm still... hope is so important, just to, you know, and to try and make sure and hope that tomorrow's going to fucking be better than what today will be. So here's fucking hoping that tomorrow will be will be better than today will be. But guys, I hope you appreciated this video. You know what I mean, if it's too personal and you know, I just felt like I didn't like giving you guys no explanation. You know, I felt like I owed you guys an explanation, so now you guys know what the situation is. So there you go. And by the way, this marble race here, I just wanted to have something playing in the background while I was, you know, doing this little video. And also I got timed it quite well because the race has come to an end, and so is this video, guys. I hope you appreciate this video, you know what I mean? This is very hard for me to make. It was very difficult for me to make this video. But yeah, now you guys know the situation, so, and that's that. So hopefully Bingo will resume before too long. If there's any more updates, I'll provide those updates. But until then, I hope you guys are doing well yourselves. Thank you once again for all your kindness. It is very much appreciated. And but yeah, this has been King Jad. I hope you all have a good day, and hopefully Bingo will be back soon. And when it comes back, I hope to see you guys there. But until then, peace out.